They'll lie on you. They'll fabricate lies. They'll imprison you and create cases around you. The same way they tried to defame the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then they tried to defame Malcolm X, and then they even tried to defame Dr. Martin Luther King by some secretary. That's what they'll do. They'll imprison you, and then they'll create lies to turn your own people against you. They'll persecute you after righteous name's sake. The same way I'm talking to you, they're going to come after me eventually. Believe it. They're going to say, that man is too dangerous. I don't like him. Let's make some lies up on him. Let's turn his people against him. Let's imprison him. And if we can, let's kill him because his people won't help him anyway. And they'll try it. And I'll be at the mercy of the devil because people say, well, won't Allah step in and help you? And I say, did he step in and help John the Baptist? And the answer would be no. He will not intervene at that point. You understand?
The government of America knows that whenever a people have been oppressed and suppressed and denied basic rights, freedom, justice, and equality, which are the essentials of life, they know that the longer we are deprived, the greater will be the leader that comes to answer that deprivation. So they were watching to see who that leader was. They were looking for the Messiah, just like Pharaoh was looking for the birth of a deliverer, and just like Herod was looking for the Messiah. They heard Malachi, y'all. They heard a brilliant black brother. They saw him building a small nation here in Georgia. Is he the Messiah? Trumped up charges. Break up his movement. Put brother in jail. Watch for the leader who is gaining strength, popularity, power, influence. Then if you can bring him into court, fine. If you can't find a way to trump up charges, find a way to kill him. Find a way to kill him.
Friends would walk up to me and just be like, what the f is in your mug? And I would just tell them, it's mud.
They click them on and off at different times. For instance, Sunday morning, they have it on a very low frequency, and people feel it's Sunday, even when they're not Christians. They have it where, well, it's Sunday, it's kind of calm. When it comes to about 8 o'clock Sunday, they start to speed up the oscillation, right? And I'm going to get to oscillators in a minute. Speed up the oscillations valves inside the frequencies to get the response. It gets higher pitched, and people become more hyper. Sunday, people start speeding faster because they're trying to get them prepared for Monday. What has happened is they know that our body moves on a different frequency, respond differently than theirs does. Obviously, because most Caucasian singers sing in high natural voices. Most Nubian singers sing in low voices. Or they were forced to emulate the Amorite and use what's referred to as a falsetto or a placement, but not a natural high voice. Very few Nubian singers have a natural high voice, unless they go out their way to, like Seal or a couple of others who want to be Amorites, go out their way to sound like Amorites. They're already programmed. They've already got inside his head when he had that accident and altered his frequency. They can also alter your frequency response. Let me tell you what I mean by that so you get a better understanding. Years ago, I tried to teach this, but people wasn't as ready then as they are now. It's simple, not uncomplicated. It's the period of time that music took a change. From the time you came in from Africa, when everything was based on drums and chants, right? And you had a kalimba, you follow that? And you had a marimba. And then as it moved into the Latino world, and you had and et cetera, et cetera. You know, just the instruments I'm talking about that apply to us as a people. All right. Now, eventually, our music went into blues. Of course, blues was the result of the fact that the Amorite gave us the blues. He took everything from us, beat us up, robbed us, raped us, castrated us, and we became quite depressed. As a result, our music, which is our emotions, became depressed. In due time, that blues changed into rock and roll for people who had cars, and R&B for those who didn't. The reason why they called it rock and roll is because little Caucasian kids with combs in their back pocket and grease in their hair and bucks on used to drive around with their car radios on and rock while they rolled. Most Nubians couldn't afford a car, so ours was based on rhythm and blues. All of it was done standing one place dancing. And the blues was mixed in depression, now with rhythm, and we called it up-tempo. Speed up the tempo a little bit. And there we got rhythm and blues. All right, Amorites, of course, want to do rhythm and blues the same way a lot of Negroes want to try to do heavy metal and rock. It won't work. Hootie and the Blowfish, it won't work long. He was just put out there to destroy the fact that they had no Caucasians that came up with any good hits this year, and they needed a Negro who's a Caucasian to take all the awards, that's all. All right, so as that happened, he started squeezing us, namely the men, to get us to start singing in high voices, commencing around the 60s. And that produced Delphonics, Blue Magic, Stylistics, Black Ivory, Shy Lights, name some more of them. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Temptations had, but they had Melbourne. A lot of the hit records was based on Aleem is his real name. Eddie Kendricks was his other name, right? And he was a falsetto. This was done intentionally to get us to love high-pitched sounds. You follow? Because that's the only way we can get a hit record is to sing the way they want. And so Blue Magic and everybody, we all screaming our voices out trying to sound like white people, which white men sing naturally in a high voice, you know, which is self-explanatory, right? But they managed to control our minds then. While we were in these clubs, you know, clubs are used for one group, gathering people or hitting people in the head with, and when you went to a club, both things were happening to you. They were gathering you and clubbing you in the head, right? Okay, so we would gather in these clubs, and this is before disco creeped in, and we started dancing. The best thing we could go back to was our Latin roots. You follow that? So we grabbed the Latin, and we started going to the Palladium, and dancing to the Allegro All-Stars, and Tio Puente, Pacheco, and we was in it. And he saw that the Latin population was becoming one with the Negro population. And that really frightened him, that we realized that we're the same family. So he tried to split us. But as a split occurred, instead of us going totally away, we started hustling. You know what hustle means, right? Moving fast, jumping around like clowns. So we started hustling. And then what he did is he staged an invasion of America by a group called Devo. And they came in with a sound, Trans-Europe Express. Had no body language. The group stood there in plastic hats and black eyes and no motion and just was saying over and over again, Trans-Europe Express. That's all they said. Trans-Europe Express. And we were beep, boom, beep, boom, beep, boom, beep, boom, beep, boom, beep, boom, beep. And about this time, what they were doing is they were introducing the Moog synthesizer. One of the first synthesizers to come in and take out analog sound to bring in digital, to take out acoustic sound and bring in the synthetic instrument. By acoustic sound, I mean when you see a person pick up a guitar with natural strings, not even the metal strings either, the catgut strings, with a wood body, and they're playing that sound with no metal and no wires and no amplification, that's acoustic. When you see a guy pick up a guitar that's all plastic and stick a wire, that's the first stages of digital, though a lot of times the original amplifiers were still analog. Analog means work by tubes, Tesla's babies. All right, digital crossed out. All right, so they brought in this group called Devo, and they came in to remove the soul. we moved gradually out the hustle into what was called the bus stop. It was a form of destroying us. The Amorites took the hustle because what happened is the gay population liked the hustle because it had a lot of body flair to it. It was very much like voguing. Everything was spinning and throwing their hands up. So this was a way for a guy to get his sugar out of his shoes without the public way. He could consider himself a good hustler, right? And then from that, he could move over and become a good disco dancer. So the guys that you knew that were very good dancers in the discotheque were usually had a little sugar in their shoes. They had it working together. They knew what they were doing. All right? And then after they did that, they started slowly but surely introducing their music to our children. Now, how they do that? They removed all of the real instruments. 99% of the music that you hear on the radio or record or tape or CD today is synthetic. The violins are fake. The bass is fake. The drums are fake. It's all in drum machines. No more human element. Without the human element, there's really no emotion. And I don't care whether they tell you, when I sample, I put my emotions in it. You put your emotions in the first 3 licks, and then when you push that continuation button and it goes on by itself, there's no more emotions regardless of what you say. You follow? This is all part of the plan for mind control. The HARP project relates to the Rainbow Project. Because where there's sound, there's light. And when sound vibrates, different frequencies give off different colors of light. When you look up and see a rainbow, and you see the 7 colors of the rainbow, if they could tap a wire into the violet, you get a certain frequency that would give you a certain tone. They knew that. I'm saying that to say they knew that they had to destroy the root of 9 ether, not the hair. They had to get down beneath the hair. The hair grows out of the root, and that's connected to the protein in the body. That's the essence of you. They had to get down inside to destroy that before they could destroy the God in you and turn you from a man to a beast, which they have. In most cases, if you look at the media today, succeeded in doing. People have transformed into beasts. You are afraid when you walk through a mall, and you are the Nubians, and you're afraid of your own people, yes, because that's how dangerous they appear to be. Don't tell me that every place you go, if you come across a bunch of Nubians, you're never afraid. Even if you're afraid of what you might have to do to one of them niggas, it's still fair, because you don't feel like having to hurt nobody, and you definitely don't want to get hurt, but they have done something. There's definitely a transformation that have taken place. So what happened is they eased into the recording studio and made something that was exclusively controlled by record companies a public fad. Get your own recording studio, own drum machine, own everything, put in your basement, and do your own mixing and sampling and make your own records. They eliminated all of the acoustics, pianos. They even made what they referred to as an electric acoustic piano by Yamaha. And I said it as Yamaha and not Yamaha because the Arabs are also a part of it. And if you look at the Leviathan cover, you'll see I have Arabs on there too, because they have been working with the devil way back. And I put in the Leviathan book where you see each one of the Saudi Arabian kings sitting with a different president. This has not been one sympathizer. This goes all the way back to the Sultan himself, who you can find in the first page of the cover of Noble Drew Ali's book, and made reference to several times in the Nation of Islam teachings. They also, I might add, make the mistake with that new information of giving Muhammad 2 identities in the Nation of Islam teachings. One Muhammad in the message to the black man is referred to as a black Arab. They say he was of the black Arab nation, right in the message to the black man. Another set of teachings says that Muhammad was a Caucasian, and that the wise men came together and told him how he could not convert his people, and he died as a result of a broken heart. That is 2 different Muhammads. One is Muhammad the Conqueror of Palestine, which is clear in the lessons when it says that the devil helped us take Palestine. The Prophet Muhammad of 1400 years ago, the black Arab, had nothing to do with Palestine ever. He never had any dealings with Caucasians in his whole life. There's no place ever recorded of Rasulullah Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam ever having anything to do with Caucasians. They mention him in the Quran under the term Rome, a surah named Rome. That's it. They mention it in Surah Taha as on the, I think it's 2102, on the day the trumpet is blown, we shall gather together the guilty blue-eyed. And of course, the Arabs, in their latest translation out of Saudi Arabia, which I have, the latest Quran has blue eyes. Before it was Blair, Blairy, Zurkhan means blue. Zurkhan, everybody knows means blue. But that's not you know. The point is that, to set that record straight, Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not making a mistake in reference to Muhammad being white in one place and black in the next. No, contrary. It was two different Muhammads. Muhammad the Conqueror was the one that's talking about in the 1 to 14 in the Bible. That's not Rasulullah they're talking about, of taking devil's heads. Prophet Muhammad never killed an Amorite in his life because he never came in contact with Amorites. However, Muhammad the Conqueror, called the great prophet Muhammad by the Europeans, he did kill Amorites. And he was brokenhearted insofar as Salahuddin, defender of the faith, went into the courts of King Richard, revived him, lived with him when he was wounded. Remember, he was struck down with a lance, brought him back to life and could not convert him. And wasn't able to convert the invading Christians who came to Jerusalem. The Muslims there could not convert those Christians because they did not realize they were dealing with the rose and the cross. A certain degree of Knights of Templar and Freemasonry who know more than Islam. And so he was brokenhearted for that. You got that part of the chapter? All right? So now, getting back to the situation at hand. So here in the wilderness of North America, we were now in these clubs getting banged upside the head with this new music that had only a bottom and a top called disco. We broke away from it, and in came synthetic instruments, and they rushed into the population access to all types of machines, drum machines, keyboards that play by themselves, pre-coded keyboard, just push the button and the music play, everything to keep you on a synthetic wavelength. Why? To get back to the point, to try to damage the 9 magnetic particles in the just another day that the Lord kept me. Just another day that the Lord has kept me. He has kept me from all sin and evil. He kept me with my mind stayed on Jesus. Another day. What did they mean by the prophecy? Get all that I just said in your mind first. Yeah? And know how they wore her and who she is, who's riding that beast, and what is her most powerful asset, which is lust. You with me? And whether you are a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew, it doesn't make a difference whether you're calling on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or if you're calling on Theos or Kurios, you're calling on Yeshua or Elohim. It doesn't make a difference. But all them names fall short of the Most High, Elion. You understand? the name of the God that Jesus Christ himself prayed to. You do know Jesus went to God. And Jesus prostrated his face while his disciples fell asleep. And he said, "Oh my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me." He said, "Not my will, but if thou wilt be done." The angel ascended with assurance. Jesus is ready. You ready to face him? Well, guess I have to die. Because I done gave you everything else. I done made the blind see. I done made the crippled walk. I done multiplied the fishes and the loaves. I ascended in front of you. You know that? I did it all. I transfigured and transformed myself for you. I brought back Moses and Elijah for you to see. I did everything to tell you that there is a life after this life. That you have no reason to fear the sting of death. No reason to fear it. Because this is just a transportation stage to another back to the bosom of God. But first of all and foremost, you got to be pleased. You got to put on an incorruptible spirit. I didn't say you got to put on a coat. I said you got to put on an incorruptible spirit. What does that mean? 1 Corinthians chapter 15. What does it mean? It means that nothing can corrupt your spirit again. That when the devil comes in any form, in any fashion, with any kind of temptation, what do you say? Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, you shall serve the Lord thy God, and him alone shall you serve. And Satan will back up from a praying man or woman. He'll go right up to Atlanta or New York, and you'll find them in the clubs. They call it a club because this is what happens to you in here. They beat you on your brain with music. That's why it's called a club. It asks you to become to wash your robes in the blood of the Lamb. Acknowledge that someone died for you. That person was a son of God, a Yahweh, a Helios in Greek. He was not the God, but the Son of God. And he had the power not to die as the Son of God. But he took on the flesh so that he could suffer the way you would suffer and feel the pain that you would feel. So he could die for you and you could feel it as he's dying. And then resurrect to say, see, the sting of death was sin. The fact that you're afraid to die proves you're a sinner. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. But if you were living by the letter of the Lord, if you were living by the commandments and statutes of God, you would not be afraid to die. You see, the Pope keeps trying to live. Yes, there is. The Pope is trying to live. He got a battle beat his bulletproof. He drives through the city inside a glass bulletproof cage going. You know what this is? You can't shoot me now. You can't shoot me now. And then says that he's an intercessor for God on earth. Farrakhan walks around with a bunch of bodyguards. Okay. Stand up on the stage, I'm Farrakhan, I'm in direct contact with Allah, and let me talk to y'all for about 5 hours about nothing. I know y'all ain't got nothing else to do, but if you did, you wouldn't have came here. And they got bodyguards. Women also. But he don't have God's body. He got bodyguards, but not God's body. So if he had God's body, he knows God can die for him and come back.
And he was no longer fed there. Because he would tell you about me. You know, Malachi's crazy. I just saw him walking around in Athens the other day by himself. You know what I mean? Right? I was in the mall in Atlanta and he walked by me, just him and his daughter or somebody. Am I right? You might see me anywhere. You come walking out of a movie theater. You know? What you doing here? People go, Tony. He'll look at me like I'm not there. This is you, huh? Yeah. That was me as long as I came out my mouth. That's me. Well, guess what? I'm going to ask you a question. All these men are afraid to die because they are not living the letter of the Lord. He's not a bodyguard. And y'all went, I'm going to get off when they say, all right, you come off when they say, now, like, wait. I'm sorry that I stay happy. But it says rejoice and be exceedingly glad, but maybe no reward in heaven. Because, you know, they've been persecuting me as long as I can remember. Oh, that Malachi, oh, he did this, oh, he did that. I wish I could have did half the stuff they said I did. Just some of it, you know. Blessed is he who is persecuted after righteous name's sake. Well, not after his own name's sake. They never persecute me in my name. No. You see it? Praise God. So now we're moving in a day and time where the power of the devil is being tested. I know where y'all want to go. It's all right if you get in the boxing ring and you're good, you jumping all around. You knock people out, you never get hit. You come back the next time, you're like this. I'm the greatest. Get back in there. Knock another nigga out my look. Your opponent starts convincing you, you can't be knocked down. You can't be knocked out. Before long, you done came back with fancy shorts on and ruffles, whole thing like. I see niggas do flips in the ring. Right? Long as you ain't been punched or knocked down, hit the right way, you a bad mother gunner. Am I lying? Don't come in and have their hands down. They be like, the fighter's trying to win it like, hey, oh, when? Come with me. Oh, when? You get the hell slapped out of you. Because you didn't jump into a straight fight on the wrong night. Having a bad fight. Get help. You're trying to figure out where the hell you are. Like, man. Take my coffee with? Other guys are going to it. Now, you all right? That's what happens to you when you get too cocky. You hear me? Where was I in Revelation? You know me, I'll be out here tomorrow. Where was I in Revelation?
Revelation 17:4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color.
All right, you know what we're talking about now? The house of Babylon. Where the new Babylon was the old Babylon has fallen. And we're in a new one. Where,
Yep. With gold and precious stones and pearls.
when you see the queen, she got a crown on and a staff full of best and most precious stones and jewels while she sits there in a solid robe.
Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness in her fornication.
She has her cup in her hand. And the the Lord is my shepherd, also says, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall live in the house of the Lord forever. So there's two cups, you see. The devil has a chalice, and he has his cup filled with what? Abominations, fornications, and it's running over. It's spilling over into other people's lives and cultures. This harlot holds it.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlot and abominations of the earth.
You hear that? She got mystery. There's something hidden beneath what they do. There's a certain secrecy to how they act. You understand what I'm saying? They tell you that it's Babylon, the great, an abomination to people in the world. What they propose to propagate as the angels that fell from grace in Revelation chapter 12 and fought against Michael. Those angels, and the word is angelos, and it means messengers. Those angels came to earth with a message, and they propagate their message of porne and filth and abomination and lust, and it brings down nations and people. Go ahead.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
She's drunk with the blood of the saints. Kill Dr. Martin Luther King. Kill Mega Evans. Kill Malcolm. Kill Kennedy. And I bet you can go on. How many great men of Christ and God has fallen because she wanted to get rid of them because she was afraid that they were going to change the course of the world for the better. Go ahead.
And with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus.
The martyrs of Jesus. People who were willing to die in the name of Jesus rather than punk out like most people. The Wapians here, I gotta give it to you. They got attacked by devils on all sides down here in this little town. And nobody came to their aid. They continue to fight and continue to struggle. They know how to be Christians. Ride by every day and see the sign. John 3:15, God so loved the world, they ain't Christians. Well, what are they? Some of them are Muslims, some of them are Christians, some of y'all are Hebrews, some of y'all are rocks, I think. Which is across your prerogative. You understand what I mean? But we had to be everything you could think of. But we stood fast, kept the faith, continued to fight, and victory is ours. Because they're back out here on this earth, on this sand, spreading the gospel, still building pyramids, still doing what we want to do, and doing better than we even thought. Because of the pressure you put on us, you don't know when you get a nigga in a headlock, he gets stronger. Y'all shouldn't have grabbed us in no headlock. We never would have got this far if y'all let us mosey along. You know how we are. We just I guess we put a permit over here sometimes. I guess you know how we is. But if you make a loud noise, oh shit, let's go, niggas get super gear. Run for fun. Go ahead, sister.
Okay. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
When John, son of Zebedee, the beloved of the Lord Jesus Christ, looked at New York City, the great Babylon, the great harlot, with all her pornography and nudity and music and colors and every kind of restaurant, every kind of buzz and every kind of disease and every kind of clothes and all kind of fancy cars and all kind of funny looking people with thorns and speckles and fins and feathers and hooks and nails and tattoos and hair and fangs and claws and roars and dogs and bites. Man, New Yorkers had everything. It was all so bright that what happened to him? Read it again. Y'all sent me crazy. Don't grade me. I was my grandmother's good old boy and y'all sent me crazy. Now I'm doing my father's work. What else? Read it again. And when I saw her, I wondered. And when John saw her, he wondered with great admiration. He looked at the hole and said, she's fine. He said, if I wasn't John, I'll tell you, she must have been real fine, right? But John is standing there with an angel standing next to him, a warring angel, and John still went, hey. And now, listen to what the angel has to say to John.
And the angel said unto me, wherefore doest thou marvel?
What the heck? Where'd your mind just go, John? Read it again, dear.
And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel?
See, the angel saw in John's eyes.
Yes.
When John was like this. Oh, shit. Well, the angel was like, wake up. Where did your mind just go, John? Let's see if John answers. Go ahead.
And I tell thee the mystery of
No, he didn't.
it says,
The angel jumped. No, John did. I'm going to say, you got to like this. John did not answer. The angel said, let me tell you the mystery of this great harlot. Let me tell you the secret about her, John. Now you read it. Go on now.
I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her.
Not only her, but the beast that she is on. What does he say about it?
The 7 heads and 10 horns.
7 heads and 10 horns. Speaking of 7 nations and kingdoms, I list them in here. United States, England, Russia, France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. 10 horns. England, France, Spain, Germany, Russia, Hungary, Italy, Greece, Turkey, and the US of A. Those are the countries that are ruling the world. 7 and 10. And the harlot is ruling them. And they're ruling us. Because they have us lusting after their life. Lusting after their image. Wanting to be in the image of the beast. Wanting to live deliciously in her. Wanting too much wealth. Too much power. Too much of everything. Until our desires are leading us to much suffering. We want more than we need. Right? That's not what we said. We said, give us each day our daily bread. That's all. Just enough to get through from day to day. Now, but we trying to stack up things. Things that rust and spoil, the Bible says. Go ahead, sister. I'll be on me. Go ahead.
Okay, the beast that thou seest was and is not.
This beast that you're looking at was and is not. See that? You know what that means? There was an old Babylon. It does not exist no more. Next, go ahead to the next line.
And shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
It's going to come up again out of the bottomless pit. Good?
And go into perdition.
Now, remember the bottomless pit. Because the bottomless pit is where the bomb is going to hit. Okay, go ahead.
It says, and go into prediction, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder.
Wait.
Whose names were not,
These people are going to wonder. A certain group of people are going to wonder because their names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb. Because they are the devil's children. We gave birth to some of them. They have our blood in their veins. But they don't think scripture, they think party. They think fun. They think boys. They think girls. They think all this good time, all this wealth, all the things. I want to be a singer. I want to be a model. I want to be a dancer. They want to be a whole lot of things, but they don't want to be a child of God. Because they don't want to be a child of God. Their name has never been entered into the book of life. They're walking and talking with you every day, and they're the devil's seed. Ain't that something that you feel as good as you are? Your daughter might be a devil and wreak havoc in your house. I mean, come to every family reunion and just embarrassed everybody because she had to have her pants all up in her butt. Nobody can't tell her nothing. Well, she gonna go off and somebody gonna have to cut her head to the white meat. That's how they get all religion. But see, you know they're the devil's children because the devil has put a protection on them. You know what that protection is? Don't take this fist and mash them in their face. If you do, I'll lock you up. If they do wrong, violate the laws of your house, if you beat them, they'll arrest you. The devil protects the devil. You know what I say? Chase them to the streets. Send them on to the land of Nod. Let them go join their kind. But they'll find when they get there, there's more ferocious devils than them. They ain't seen no hoes till they meet some real hoes. They're little synthetic hoes. They ain't got one pair of panty pants. They ain't no real hip-hopper. They got a little rag on their head like they belong to a gang, and bend their fingers. They don't belong to no gang, huh? We know we raised you. You a little coward. Now you're gonna go on up there, and you're gonna get in Atlanta, and you're gonna encounter some real gangsters. You understand? Some of these young kids here are gonna die. They're gonna die because they think they bad. They don't know there's real killers out there. There's real devils. You just possessed to the devil. There's other ones that ain't possessed to the devil. They are the devil. And they just cut your throat just as well as look at you. Just for a bracelet, or a ring, or your sneakers. Or you go to the party, and because you cute, you wink at the wrong girl and lose your life. It's happening. It's happening while we are talking now. Here on this Saturday night, some kid in Atlanta is losing his life. Well, he done left Griffin, Georgia, and went up to Atlanta and hung out with a bunch of hoes and wannabe pimps and think I'm slick niggas. Take them to a party and they die. But they could. But they saw how to dress on television. You know how many girls wanted to be Aaliyah? They saw in a video, I wish I was Aaliyah. Do you wish you was Aaliyah now? I'm not making fun of her death. I'm saying, you see what happens? Tupac. God rest his soul. Tough brother. Bad. Buck the system. In and out of jail. Can't tell me nothing. Where is it? Oh, dead. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no real hip-hop. Niggas, y'all better stop that stuff and get back into grace. Better get back in these books. Better bleed that crap up. Y'all ain't real. They got some real devils out there waiting for you. You got some real hoes out there. They do that for a living. That ain't you. Deep down in the core of you, there's a good person just wanting to be free. Wanting to be free of us parents telling you what to do every day. But hell, as long as we are providing the bed and the bed, we're going to tell you what you're supposed to have in your head. And when you decide that you don't want to be amongst us anymore, pack it up and go on to the land of Nod and deal with them killers. You may survive. Lord knows we want you to survive. You going into the jungle with real lions, so read to me.
Whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. When they behold...
Wait. I want that for a reason then. Their name was not written in the book of life since when?
From the foundation of the world.
Since the world was created? So these are not God's children. These are human devils. Their name was never written in the book of life since the foundation of the world. Then they are what? They're devils. And we're walking and talking with them. We're breaking bread with them. Meeting at parties and clubs and restaurants, socializing and shopping with them. And they admitted their name was never in God's book. They go to heaven. They never was going to even make it. You hear me? Wait. When they behold the beast that was and is not, is and yet is. Stop. Before they didn't add the yet is. Was, old Babylon, is not, destroyed, take out the pit, and yet is. We're back in it again. There's a new Babylon, a new Sodom and Gomorrah. New temptations, more sophisticated than we ever imagined. When I was a little boy, when we had a gun, I think I said this before, nothing on it moved. I don't think y'all heard me. Nothing on it moved. It was shaped like a gun, and everything was all imagination. Now they got toys where they put bullets in them, and smoke comes out of them, and things come out of them. Who's doing that? Who's teaching them this? It was all imagination. Now, the devil's in control of your mind. His temptations are way out there. And you can have cyber sex. You can have sex with somebody in Australia on the computer. The devil then made a way. He said, if you won't come out here, I'll go in there and get you. I'm going to drive you out the church if it's the last thing I do. You understand? Can't you go on a computer and have a sex thing? Huh? Oh, what do they call those lines? How you know that? Well, I ain't gonna say nothing, but I know where she is going. I don't want to be a part of it, but I hope the Lord heals it. Go ahead, sister. And here is the mind which talks with wisdom. Here's the mind that has wisdom. Don't that sound familiar? Don't that sound like here's him that has wisdom? Let him count the number of the beast, because it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Before you go any further, I want someone to turn right now to Revelation chapter 9, verse 11. Because it all happened on the 9th month and 11th day, did it not? Oh, yeah. To see if God was warning us. Revelation 9:11, read it.
And they had a king over them.
And they had a king over them,
Which is the angel of the bottomless pit.
the angel of that bottomless pit. Whose
name in the Hebrew tongue
is Abaddon, which means destruction. But to make sure you didn't miss it, be you Jewish or Greek, and in Greek, Apollyon, right? And his name in Greek
has his name Apollyon.
also meaning destruction. That is the 9th chapter, the 11th verse. The 9th month, the 11th day. And they speak about two names for the beast. And both names is destruction. Two buildings, and both buildings were destroyed. God warned us there, but we ain't keeping up with the word of God.
special needs.